they made 3 John Wick movies about why you shouldn't kidnap a dog. And she goes, no, they made it about why you shouldn't kill a dog, not kidnap a dog. And Azrael's like, what? Bitch, like, hand-to-hand combat, I have poison.
There's just something about when a book gives on-page sex in the first chapter that just, I'm sold.
He almost fucked him in the ass with a knife, but then he didn't.
I mean,
It was close
a little
enough.
bit.
He got dickmatized. How are you?
Hello, I am okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Tired.
You seem... Not really.
Tired.
Yeah. Are you sad that vacation's over?
Yeah.
Ah, we survived the year. Barely.
We're not dead.
Yeah, we're not in jail.
We're not in prison. No,
Not in prison.
not in prison.
We did not steal money because clearly otherwise we would be doing way other things.
I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, no.
Mm.
Overall, it was rough, but we're here. It's fine. We are back on our bullshit, except a little bit different right now because Krystal doesn't usually do regular episodes.
Well, this is a different type of wheel. We already,
Yes, I know.
I
know.
we're excited to try it out.
Yeah. Excited's the word.
Yeah. Soup's excited. Yay,
So,
team. No, just kidding.
good Lord.
Just
Get
kidding.
your shit together,
I know.
lady.
I need a nap.
Yeah, I guess so. You're so freaking grumpy.
I've been like super tired and I've been like sleeping and I'm just still super tired.
Yeah. I have been really tired too, actually.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I'm not really that stressed though, so like that's kind of
That's
nice.
positive.
That is a 1-up from this time
Soup's
last year.
positive.
So,
Also,
yeah.
win-win-win.
You have a package getting delivered on Thursday.
Me?
You.
Me?
I hope you like it. We'll see how that goes.
I like packages.
So don't I.
We like packages of all kinds,
You know
especially
it's like
big
packages.
packages.
Everyone in this book.
Yes. Yes,
New
they did.
year, same bullshit. I have to say, okay, so we read Play Dirty by Neve Wilder and Onley James, and I have to say, I loved the author's note. The author's note was really cute. Mostly because it says, Play Dirty hops around a few countries. We used a mixture of locations, both real and imagined, and made adjustments to suit the story. As neither of us are professional assassins, and the only thing we assassinate with any regularity is carbs, plenty of research went into the making of this book. We probably got some things wrong, probably while distracted by pastries, and we definitely took some liberties. A lot, to be honest.
Fair.
Just as with bad habits, we try to obey accepted laws of physics, but given that we're technically in 2020, so when the book came out, we're not sure those apply. In short, take this for what it is.
Yeah, I enjoyed starting our new year, new wheel out with an serial killer or killer for hire romance. I was here for it.
Yeah. I was also here for the fact that we had sex in the first 10 pages of the book.
Okay, seriously. Okay, I'm just gonna step on
This
my
book
little
actually had way
soapbox
more. This
for
book
just a
had
hot
way
minute.
more sex in it than I thought
Yes.
was going
And
to happen.
Great. There's just something about when a book gives on-page sex in the first chapter that just, I'm sold. I'm here for it. It brings me sucked in. I am there. And I don't know. Look, I'm all for smut. Obviously. Hello. Welcome. Here for smut.
This is our podcast.
However, first chapter, I mean, that's all I need. Sold. If sold.
I was
Take my
not
money.
so here's the thing too, is like, so with the type of book that it was, I wasn't fully expecting, because we've had books that are like not exactly this, but like kind of similarly with like the action and everything, and there's less smut and it's more focused on the action. I felt like this gave a pretty good split down the fucking middle. Like, I
Yeah.
was actually low-key super impressed with it. The only content alert this gives is references to scenes of knife play. And we all know how Krystal feels about the knife play. And it was
I will
almost...
spoil alert and say I don't think it's bad though.
It's not. It was... He almost fucked him in the ass with a knife, but then he didn't.
I mean,
It was close
a
enough.
little bit,
It's
but
close
not
enough.
like yeah. Anyways, so we talked about this new wheel being very niche things. This wasn't what my brain thought of when I was like, I want you to have dual hitmen and the enemies to lovers thing. It wasn't immediately what I had in my brain, but I'm not mad about it. Did I
Neither am
get
I.
enemies to lovers dual hitmen? Yes. Did I want a little bit more fighting and angst? A little bit for the niche category I
Mm-hmm.
chose, but I was happy with the book.
Same.
Like, so, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We might see this niche category pop up again if we do something like this.
Yes. My only gripe with the book, and
I have a couple gripes, but
well,
not
I don't
major.
I don't have many.
No.
My only big one that I had was, yes, each chapter is labeled for whose POV it is, but it does switch POV in the middle of chapters. And I was like, okay. Not it happened more so in the beginning, and then it stopped doing it so much. But I was a little like taken aback. I was like,
I
wait,
felt like
hold on.
it's third person point of view.
Yeah.
And I felt like it wasn't necessary to even put chapter headings on whose POV it was, because there was really no POV because it was third person.
Yeah.
And they could have switched willy-nilly all they wanted if they did that. And
I got over it eventually. I just was like,
I know.
oh,
It
wait,
took
hold
me
on.
a couple chapters to get over the third person
Yeah.
because of the heading. But
See, I like third person.
I'm not opposed to it. It's
Right.
just
It's
the
not
way
yeah,
that
yeah,
it
yeah.
took
Yeah.
place. I was like, it's kind of odd. My only other major gripe was that this is the second book in the series, and it specifically says that these are standalones within the same like world,
Mhm.
but I felt very much throughout it that it was written like you should have read the first one first.
So
They brought in characters,
bits and
and
pieces of it felt like that, but then
but it wasn't tragic overall.
Yeah.
No. Have we? I read worse with that.
Same.
Absolutely.
We've read worse on the podcast where we're like, I don't know
Absolutely.
what is happening.
Absolutely. I still felt, with as much that was thrown in without the full explanation, I wish they had not stated it like that. I wish
Yeah.
they had said, we encourage you to read the first book first, or however it could have been worded to
I just
make
might,
you
so
realize. I might go back too, but make you, and I definitely want to read the third one, but we'll get
yeah,
to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I just wish that it wasn't so labeled as a complete standalone,
Yeah.
because it did not feel that way.
Right.
That's all. That's so.
Yes. Yeah. That was just my only really
Those
gripe.
were my major, yeah.
Yeah. But the book opens with a prologue, and it's in Madigan's point of view. And he is currently sitting down at a bar, and a man approaches him asking if he minds if he asks the bartender to switch to a different game. And Madigan has been aware of this man, especially the moment he sat down, because he's dressed so nicely. And not to mention, like, there could be any other spot of this bar that this man could sit in, and he's sitting directly next to him. And he tells him, like, yeah, the game is already, like, playing down further. And the man goes, well, it's not quite the same experience, though, is it? And honestly, I admire this kind of confidence. His confidence is through the roof. And he offers to buy Madigan his next whiskey. But Madigan says that that's not what he's thirsty for. And the man gives him
Fire
the
for
key
fire.
card to his room and his room number. They take the elevator up, and while the man had been kind of settled in the bar, he was now just like raking his eyes all over Madigan. And when they finally make it to the floor and they come out of the elevator, Madigan is immediately pushed up against a wall. As soon as they're out of like the view of cameras, and they start fucking making out. And while he knew that they needed to get back to the hotel room, Madigan really could not bring himself to break this kiss. But when they do, the other man starts to go to choke him, and Madigan's instincts immediately kick in. And the man does apologize. He goes, "I am so sorry. I will make sure I watch myself," which, what a great response.
He's like, I did a stint in the army. It was just
Yeah.
instinctual. My bad.
Yeah. They exchange names. Of course, they both say their name is John. And he goes,
John Smith.
"I'll just call myself Smith then." He goes, "Oh, what a coincidence." But the other man says, "Why don't you call me Akil instead?" For a brief second, Madigan wonders if this man had given him his real name, but that did not strike him as something that this man would do. And Akil tells him to take his cock out, but Madigan
So he doesn't think much of it after that.
yeah.
Because, you know.
But Madigan responds back to take it out yourself. So he does. Akil asks him to show him what he likes. So Madigan starts to grab his own cock and strokes it the way he does when he's alone. And then Akil blows him. He wants to fuck him. So he slows down, pulls out condoms and lube, and takes off Akil's trousers. They go back and forth about basically who's going to bottom. And the bottom ends up being Madigan. But Madigan is so fucking hungry for it, and it's nice and rough, and they both give as good as they fucking get to. And when they're finally done, they talk a little bit. Akil asks if Madigan wants him to leave. And Madigan says, oh, he's not done with him yet. In 15 minutes, he wants to fuck him until he lapses into another language. And then 20 minutes later, Madigan has his cock buried in Akil's ass. Nothing like starting a book with sex. Love that for us. When Madigan wakes up the next morning, he's alone. And he's not upset that he left him. He's more upset that he didn't even stir when Akil left. Like, the sex was phenomenal, by the way.
He's a really light sleeper.
And so it takes, a lot to sneak out without Madigan knowing. So he gets a shower and he gets ready to leave.
He looks under his bed to grab his gun that he keeps. And then he goes to the room that he rented.
He reaches under to go through his gun to find it. And yeah, so all the magazines are missing and all the bullets. But he does manage to find some. So he heads up to the 12th floor and he trains his scope on his target. But there's a fucking ficus in the goddamn way of this man's face. And he goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then he shifts, and then fucking Akil's face is there, which is so
very amused.
Very, very amused. But he sees that this man is like slumped over, but there's no bullet holes, there's no blood. So like, what the fuck? And yeah, Akil's just sitting there holding up one of fucking Madigan's missing magazines. Madigan's pride told him to pull the trigger, but common sense told him to not be an idiot. And he just packs up his gun, walks across the street, and then returns back to his own hotel about an hour later. Because this mission was not what... This man killed the man he was supposed to kill.
Took his target.
Right? And then on his way to the airport, he makes a phone call to his former mentor, Soren. And Soren says that he already heard. And Madigan's fucking pissed that he had already, like, this was such a lot of waste of time. Like, he's like, I could have done 3 other jobs for what I just lost. And asks who the fuck it was. We find out his name is Azrael. And then we get the actual book.
He finds out not only who it is, because Azrael is known amongst their people and their...
as an angel of death.
Of the angels. Yes, as the angel of death.
Yeah. So Azrael is about to sit in a meeting.
No one sees him coming.
Yeah. And we learned that after the 6-figure job that Azrael cost Madigan, that Madigan also returned the favor afterwards, which I love. I think that is so funny that they kind of were going back and forth.
For the past few years or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. Choop, choop, choop.
Yep. Azrael was like more irritated with waking up alone than losing the job. But he like had to remind himself he needs to keep his head in the game and he cannot have distractions. There's a small group of people sitting around this table. It's like they're all the assassins just around a table. And a small robotic voice chimes in saying that
You are called to a special meeting.
Yes, saying that the Red Queen bids you welcome. Underneath your seat, you're going to find a list of names, and these people on this list have committed unspeakable crimes against the innocent, so the Queen demands their lives as payment. Now,
With their head.
that was the funniest shit ever. It's a Deadpool. So a bunch of people had gotten like an invitation to come here. Jonah said that there was, a request to extend the invitation to anyone they thought would appreciate like a head start, and that's all he knows. Azrael, though, can sense that Jonah is lying about something, but he can't like pinpoint it, and it's really not his place to say so. Jonah is friends with Madigan. So the Red Queen, by the way, is dead. So, well, dead. And
we probably would have known that from the first book.
Correct, yes. But the Red Queen had put this together to go after Death. But the voice comes into the room again and says that these targets will not go unpunished and that they have all been chosen because they were the top of their field, which is why the Red Queen has given them 48 hours to seek out and destroy as many targets as they can. When the time is up, this list will be released on the darknet and any civilian may pick up the mantle and fight for the Red Queen. And now the time begins. Madigan stands up and is heading out. He already thinks he knows where one of the targets is, and that man is going to have a very unlucky night. So he has a plane to catch. Azrael found the man's name on the list that Madigan is headed for, and it's like only a $500,000 bounty, so it's not even like the highest one on the list. So he's really curious if Madigan is attempting to mislead him. And Azrael says he's going to also take his leave as well and makes a phone call and wants information on Robert Cortez, which is the man on the list that Madigan is going for. And we learned that Cortez's credit card had been used in a hotel in Miami. So Azrael wants to get the next flight out of LaGuardia and
it's not very far from where they are. It's just a short flight, so easy to do in the time frame because they only have 48 hours.
Yeah. So he wants a reservation at whatever hotel that man is staying at. But when he gets into his car and he pops the trunk, his go bag, all of his clothes are strewn everywhere, and his passport is missing. So he needs to use a different alias to fly. So he calls up his people like, yo, well, I need this name now. Like, what the fuck? When he finally gets to the hotel, he checks in, and the guy tells him that his husband arrived ahead of him, and he's a little taken aback because that just means that Madigan is there. He asks if there's a restroom, and he heads there, and he has a vial of poison. So that is his mode of murder, by the way, is poisoning and gas and all that fun stuff. And he's going to put it in a little lancet, because why not? That's a nice, easy way to murder somebody you won't know instead of shooting him. So he loads the poison up, and he heads to the pool, and there is the man of the hour. Not Madigan, but Cortez. And he is smoking a cigar in a black Speedo surrounded by women. And he is literally 6 feet away from the target. And he goes to walk over there and a fucking chunk of concrete disappears because Madigan is a sniper. And he fucking shot the ground in front of him to warn him to not go any further. But who cares? Azrael ends up injecting the man anyways. Cortez kills him. They both end up heading back to the hotel room, and well, Madigan gets there first, and when Azrael steps in, Madigan has a gun in his hand, and Azrael just says, like, listen, the last time this happened, you put me out for a month. Can you shoot my other shoulder this time? Bro. Madigan asks if Azrael is, like, bored with the same old tricks. And they just, like, discuss some things, but apparently they're missing each other, which means they're gonna bang again. Guess what? They do. And
they don't come right out and say they miss each other.
No, of course not. Why would they do that? That would just be showing feelings for these assassins. Knife play does get involved with Azrael taking the handle of a knife and, like, on Madigan's asshole. So that was fun for me. And then they do fuck. When they're done, Azriel asks where to next, and not to worry, he's just curious. He doesn't have any intention of going after the man that Madigan is going after. He has somebody more interesting in mind. But then, they fall asleep. Madigan wakes up again in the morning, but he hears the hotel door shutting quietly. He checks that all of his belongings are there, and when he searches around, there ends up being a business card underneath the bed with the name of a company and a Rio address. So he calls Jonah, because now this is kind of crazy. This could be like a bad idea, because normally these two men go a lot longer between seeing each other. And this also kind of feels like a trap, because if he's just like leaving this card to be like, hey, this is kind of where I'm going next. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
There.
Right? When Jonah answers, Madigan asks if he's enjoying his extended honeymoon, so Jonah is married. And Jonah's like, well, it was until you fucking interrupted it. And Madigan says, well, listen, you owe me favors, so I'm calling in one now. Ask your boy who else he knows. I need, like, top-notch surveillance at getting shit since he's on hiatus. He needs a name and a phone number. And the man in question is Cass. By the way, I love Cass. Cass is great.
Cass is the first book.
Yes.
Jonah. Yeah.
Yeah, Cass and Jonah. But Cass says, listen, the guy that I have will not just work for anybody who hasn't been thoroughly vetted. I can't just like hook you up with him. But in the end, we do get this other man. And Madigan says that he has 10 aliases that he needs him to immobilize completely and immediately within the next half an hour. He's trying to get us so that Azriel can't go anywhere. So yeah, it's true, because it took Azriel 3 days to get to Rio instead of the 6 hours it should have taken him to get to Rio, because he got put on a watch list, which is so funny. But, Azriel realizes it is really his own fault. He did leave the clue for Madigan to find, hoping, if he stole another kill from him, he would just continue on their fucking psycho behavior. So he has an idea. He wants Madigan to go with. So he's kind of like trying to butter him up. So like he figures if Madigan steals his kill, maybe he could like use it as like leverage. Be like, oh look, we're even. I have an idea.
Well, he wanted to do this like originally before the 48 hours were up.
Yeah.
But now it's 3 days later and they're kind of fucked.
Yeah, they are.
Because
Thankfully,
now everybody's after everybody.
yeah. Thankfully, as he still has connections, it didn't like fully ruin his plans. He did manage to bribe the
There's still
attendant.
plenty of
Yeah.
peeps.
He has a lot of connections in Rio specifically. He did manage to bribe the attendant into getting a hotel key for Mr. Smith's room, which we all know that that's Madigan's room. And as he goes to Madigan's room, he had originally expected to see like a gun being pulled or a knife being pulled. But when he gets there, Madigan is just laying on his back naked in bed. And Madigan murmurs, it took you long enough. And they are back into their push and pull again. And Azriel says that he's got a proposal for him. He's trying to tell him like, hey, stay the night, don't leave in the morning. I have a proposal for you. And you're curious enough to kind of like stay around for that. Instead of fucking him, Azriel just climbs into bed behind him and cuddles. And Madigan is very shocked as to what the fuck is happening and is so offended by being the little spoon. And he says, I am not the little spoon. But Azriel says, look, I'm not going to get hung up on such things like big spoon, little spoon, teaspoon, soup spoon. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, it's all the same to me. I didn't think you'd be so toxically masculine about it. Like, he's like, but it does not surprise me, I guess, coming from a man who nearly let me fuck him with a knife handle. But he's tired, because again, it took him 3 fucking days to get here, and he hasn't showered in 3 days, and he just wants to lay there. So Madigan says, listen, if I can't fuck you and you're too tired to fuck me, then tell me your deal. Azriel says, look, I want to sleep, and I want you to be here when I wake up in the morning. Madigan says that he has his word, right? Has his word, regardless of whether he accepts this proposal. He will be there in the morning. Azriel proposes that the two of them kill together. and split all the money because, duh, two would be so much better than just one.
Faster.
Azriel, right? Azriel just wants to put aside their
Compete against everybody now.
Azriel wants to just put aside their rivalry temporarily. And Madigan actually agrees. And when they wake up in the morning, the two of them are just like casually awake together. And Madigan blames being half asleep for saying yes to this in the first place. But, you know, he also is a little suspicious because he thinks that maybe Azriel could be setting him up, but like also maybe not. Madigan wants to set rules. And his only rule so far is that they can't fuck. Like, as they're doing all of this, like, that is the only ground rule he has. And Azriel's like, do you have any more? And he goes, I'll let you know when they occur. Yeah. And then asks what target he's thinking of. And there are two targets on the list that are together, which is DeMarco and Bennington. They were a trio, but Madigan had already killed one of them. They're going to have to do a little recon to figure out where they're meeting. One is currently in a hotel and one is in a rented house that is also super heavily guarded. And Azriel says like he only knows this information because of his connections that he has through the grapevine. And he tells Madigan that they're not the simple targets that Madigan thinks they are. But I mean, if he wants to verify his contacts and everything, like he can, but he lived in
his own contacts, right?
Yeah. He's lived in Rio for a couple of years. Like everybody here can be bought. But for now, he just wants to lay by the pool for a little while. Like he's so nonchalant.
Well, he knows he has to wait for the right time anyways.
Yeah.
They're going to have this meeting and it's almost time. Like,
yeah. And later on, they'll see what goes on at the DeMarco's compound since it isn't too far. And, Azriel rented a small villa because, if they need to prepare and plan, they don't want to be on hotel cameras. And yeah, so then we get them staking out the compound. The closest building was almost like a half a mile away. So instead, they're in an empty house in this tiny ass fucking attic. And they're like so squished and sweating together. And they're so fucking grumpy about this.
Well, Madigan is grumpy about this.
Okay, yeah, Madigan's grumpy. Fucking Azriel's having a blast over here.
He thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah. Madigan's like, are you fucking sure that your contacts were right? Because, like, we've been here for 6 hours, and this place is quiet. And Azriel's like, aren't snipers supposed to be, like,
patient,
able to sit for hours?
Days even?
Days? Like, Madigan's just like, yeah, well, snipers work alone. And Azriel tries to start to distract him by running his hand, like, up his pants to his crotch. And
Madigan is like, puppy.
I know. And then starts, like, tonguing Madigan's neck. And Madigan says, hey, there's movement. And Azriel's like, yeah, there is. And Madigan's like, no, there's a truck on the road.
Also that.
Yeah, that. Sure enough, there's men carrying assault rifles, trucks going into this compound, and Madigan was like gonna shoot him from a distance, but Azriel told him like, yo, you gotta have patience because it's DeMarco. He sees DeMarco. He goes, there's no shot at the other dude if you fucking take DeMarco out. And
just
like
hiding.
Yeah, turns out by the way, these people
super skittish.
Not smuggling drugs.
Nope.
They're smuggling people.
Yep.
People. After spending hours in this stupid attic, they do head back to the villa. Because again, they were literally only there for the recon. They weren't doing anything super intense. And the villa is absolute fucking heaven. If heaven also included bulletproof glass. Whatever. Azriel starts to go swimming in the pool. And Azriel is really trying to get Madigan to break because he's swimming naked. And then he decides to get out of the pool and lay on one of the chairs, also naked. And he decides to start jerking off, hoping that Madigan is watching and that this is turning him on. Sure enough, yeah, Madigan saw that and then went and jerked off in the shower because Azriel knows exactly what buttons to push. But Madigan also likes to push boundaries, and he tells Azriel Because afterwards, Asriel asks, like, oh, yeah? How'd it feel? But Madigan,
How to feel?
how'd it feel?
How
Well,
to feel?
how'd it
I
feel?
know how to feel.
And Madigan says something that was kind of out of pocket and a little mean and like button pushy, which was, oh yeah, he had seen it and then he went and jerked off in the shower. But it was a really good appetizer you gave me, but I needed a little bit more. So I thought about an encounter I had the night before you arrived when I was in Greece. A really nice Greek man. Very, very easy to please. And then he asks if for dinner.
Eager to please.
What did I say? Oh,
Easy.
yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. But it was the way he was antagonizing him like that.
And then he asks for dinner. And this really, really bothers Asriel a lot. And Madigan can tell that it bothers him, especially with the fact that Asriel decides to prepare Greek food for dinner and is being a little pissy walking around. And it's just, sir. But they decide to kind of open up with each other. They talk about their past. Asriel had left family when he was 16 to go look for his father. By the way, he murdered his father. And they just talk about their shitty childhood and how they met certain people, basically, how they kind of came into this profession. Madigan's really trying to hold firm on his, we're not gonna fuck. So he is not sleeping in the same bed as Asriel. He is going to be on the couch. The couches aren't comfortable and he's in a lot of pain and he just slept like absolute shit. So he's just scrolling through some shipping logs because again, they're trying to figure out how to like disrupt this other man's stuff. And Asriel walks in with a towel. Just a towel. And goddamn, he looks really good. And they're going over the information about DeMarco, and Asriel says that they're going to check out the warehouse and then they can discuss interfering with global networks and everything. And so they do more recon on the warehouse, but it is a bit more difficult than that. And this area is more of like a solid block of concrete. And they're also arguing about like maybe they should be separated for this, which is really funny when they argue about it because Madigan's like, well, I'm faster. And Azrael's like, what? Bitch, like, hand-to-hand combat, I have poison. So,
You sniper people from a distance.
yeah, exactly. And Azrael can handle knives. So they're at the compound place reconning some more.
But Madigan is like, well, Azrael's just like a little baby, like a snooty little,
But then,
he doesn't want to get his hands dirty.
but then Azrael's like, listen, I am not as broad as you are. And Madigan's like, are you calling me fat? And he goes, baby, there's not an ounce of fat on you. I was like, oh, he's just bigger. He goes, listen, you can take your gun out. You can take people out from your gun from here. It's kind of like, oh, baby, sweet baby.
Let me just do my job.
Right? And he's like, I can't poison people from a distance. So Madigan says that if he gets captured, he's leaving. And meeting his contact without him. As they're doing this recon, they notice that it's more than just one container full of captives. And DeMarco is absolutely trafficking humans. And then after all the recon is done, they head to a club. Why? Because the club is where Azrael's contact, Ryan, is. I have thoughts and feelings about Ryan. Just the name. Ryan.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. Ryan is sitting in a booth surrounded by, as they say, scantily clad, barely legal twinks. Which is a choice. And so
It's quite a choice.
Ryan is a mercenary. Like, he cares more about power and money in that exact order. And if he is selling information to Azrael, it's because he benefits some way from doing so, which kind of makes Azrael a little like weary about it. But they're out of options because Bennington and DeMarco are very hidden behind walls. So Ryan and Azrael dance together. It's kind of just a ruse so that Ryan can put a piece of paper into his pocket with information on it. And then
Sunshine in my pocket.
Madigan comes up to Azrael on the dance floor after another man tries to dance with Azriel, and he like comes up behind him and then ushers him off the floor and then starts to kiss his neck, telling him he's going to make him beg. And Azriel asks if that's what he needs, his submission. Is it not enough that he lets him fuck him when nobody else can? Does he needs the words? Because
Yes.
he will beg Madigan to literally fuck him right there. And then Madigan starts to edge Azriel and then leaves. He just leaves.
Well, there's a little more to it, but yeah.
I'm just saying. So Madigan heads back to the villa and he is pacing and going through his head because shit, I just left Azriel there after doing that. And like, what if he fucks the man that was like trying to dance with him before because, whatever. And I mean, it would be Madigan's own fault if he does. And the words that Azriel had spoken to him really wrapped through his mind. But all of a sudden, Azriel is there and asks, so they're outside at the pool, Madigan is. And Azriel asks him if he's just going to stand there on the edge or get in. Madigan's like, he's debating it. And Azriel says, that was really rude of you in the club.
Well, like, he got scared.
No, yeah. I understand that, but like I also would be pissed.
Too many feelings.
Well, listen, get over and have your tiny little man feelings. This is an opportunity to have those feelings. Most of the time, no, bury that shit. But he says, like, is this the pattern you want to continue? Like, tit for tat? Like, don't you want to try something different? Madigan says, I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But before he can finish his sentence, Azriel interrupts him and tells him that he really needs to cool off and then they'll talk more. And then Azriel pushes him into the pool.
Oh, yeah, because if he wants it to be like that, there you go.
Mm-hmm. And then Azriel takes his shirt off and dives into the pool. As he's coming up, Madigan puts him into a headlock. And Azriel tells him, like, he is so worked up. And Madigan just wants to get put out of his misery at this point. And then they fuck again. And Azriel thinks that they should have been just doing this the entire time, but Madigan is just being so stubborn. And they sleep in the same bed overnight. They go over their plan again the next day just to make sure everything is good. Madigan has no reason to not expect this to go as smoothly as all the other kills, but Madigan's mind just starts to swirl with, like, would they be able to work again together after this is over? Like, would they just go back to their usual games? So here we are. They are going to be at the DeMarco's thing again, and shit really starts to go pretty south. Because it's as if people inside were tipped off and that maybe they were set up. Madigan gets a phone call from Jonah, and Madigan says that they need to get the fuck out of there because there's at least 2 other pros in town who are now coming for DeMarco and Bennington. Because again, like Ariel stated, and we stated, like, now everybody can come and like get these people.
Gonna mess everything up.
And Madigan says that they need to split up, and this turns into an argument.
And the guy didn't show up. It was clear that they were tipped off. Azriel was trusting the intel from Ryan, even though it was the best he could do in the situation. And he was keeping Madigan mostly in the dark because he was being elusive about it all because it was his person. And so Madigan was just kind of going along with it. But then all of a sudden, everyone kind of turned on Azriel and Madigan. And it was clear that it was a complete setup and they had to fight their way out. So now they're splitting ways and they're angry with each other and they're trying to get out of there. And Madigan has to call in people and Azriel has to call in people. And they end up splitting off and going their separate ways, with Madigan feeling like Azriel completely betrayed him.
Yeah, and Azriel's really pissed too because he says, like, I guess this was a terrible idea. Like, they should just work alone. And like, there was a lot of trust. And Azriel was like, listen, like, I don't know what you expect from me. Like, I lost your trust. If you want to work alone, fine. Because realistically, like, Again, this was Azrael's contact that fucked them over. It's very, very tense. So Madigan ends up with Cass and Jonah to just take a break. And he talks to Cass about Azrael. Madigan does apologize to them for like shit that happened in the past, all this stuff. And Cass is like, oh my God, Madigan is apologizing to me. It was really, he's so dramatic, and I love him. And this was when I said I assume this has to do with the first book. Jonah asks how long Azrael and Madigan have been fucking. And Madigan says, too long. Also, side note, Jonah and Madigan also have a history. I'm assuming it's probably in the first book too.
Yeah.
They've slept together, but it was like, it wasn't very serious between them. And even Jonah says, like, do you know the reason why you
benefits type of situation?
Yeah. He goes, do you know why the reason that we wouldn't have worked a long time? He's like, we're similar, but not alike. They're not the way that Madigan and Azrael are. And he says, just be careful, be smart, and don't miss your shot. He's encouraging this.
Yeah,
I would encourage this too.
One opportunity.
So he goes out and just starts wandering around. And as he does, because he's got another target, Azrael's also there. And he spots Azrael like staring at like the lover of the target. And he only sees his profile. So fucking Madigan calls Cass and says that he needs Cass to search every Atlantic City hotel for aliases. And Jonah says, do me a favor. Whenever there's a wedding, don't invite me.
Want nothing to do with this.
Yeah. Madigan leaves a message for Azrael at his hotel saying to let him know that his husband has reservations at 8 and to meet him there. And Madigan's kind of nervous. And Azrael does stroll in to the restaurant 30 minutes late. Dressed really, really nice. But Azrael even asks, like, is this a business meeting or a date? And Madigan admits that he misses him and he missed him. And Azrael had been prepared for this meeting since the moment they separated weeks before. But Madigan Madigan saying he missed him really threw him off. He drinks his drink in like one go and tells Madigan that they're not discussing this there, and if they want to continue this conversation, to meet him at his hotel room. And he just keeps thinking about the words, I missed you. If he really did miss Azrael this much, like, why had he waited until he saw him to contact him? But now, fucking Madigan's ruined everything. Yeah.
Make himself feel better.
Well, yeah.
What he's about to do.
Yeah. Because Madigan was right. They were weaker together. Like, they were each other's blind spots. And Azrael like made peace with this weeks ago. He got really, really fucking hammered when he made peace with it weeks ago, but whatever. But they go up and Madigan tries to speak and Azrael says, no, you do not get to talk because when you talk, chaos follows. And I forget who I am and you make me forget that I prefer being alone. Azrael ends up in the throw of things, carving his initials into Madigan and licking the blood.
Licking him.
Yeah. And they fuck. And when they're done with that, Madigan tells him that he does trust him now. And Azrael says, I know. And I'm really sorry. And he plunges a syringe into his neck. I was like, no, babies.
Like I knew shit was about to happen. My stomach still dropped. I was like, oh.
Me too. Yeah. And when Madigan awakes, he is in a gray cement room. It's just like a kill room. Mm-hmm. And he's pissed, kind of impressed with some of the stuff because now he feels like he needs a kill room like this because of all the chains.
The way he's chained up, yeah.
But he's pissed. Like, I would also be pissed. And Ryan is there. And Azrael's trying to get Madigan to drink some water. And, like, he had overheard Azrael when he was waking up. Right? Right? That, like, he like, overshot things. But, like, the shot he gave him was to revive him, not kill him. Madigan, pissed. Azrael goes up to him and says, there are cameras in this room. Watch what you say. What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm just playing.
What the fuck? Oh my god. Azrael says that they're in one of Bennington's warehouses and he needs to trust him. Of course, all of this is super painful for Azrael because why the fuck did Madigan not admit his fucking feelings sooner? Because like now he feels so guilty for all of this and basically backstabbing him. Like he had his reasons, and like realistically, this is the only bargaining chip he had with Madigan, and he really, really needed Bennington.
And if he had just confessed sooner, he could have had time to read Madigan in on his plan, but it was really Madigan's fault. Duh.
Yeah.
Stupid
Yeah.
man.
So, but I mean, if this all goes south, at least him and Madigan would die together. Because he does also feel that Ryan is setting him up.
Sometimes I think that it's the worst thing to be a straight woman. But then I remember that gay men choose men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they could be a man and they could have a woman. But gay men have the unfortunate like need to, I mean, I love me some gay men, but like they are unfortunate. They don't even have a woman to help them. They're two men.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily they tend to have more brain cells than straight men, but like,
yeah,
I just feel bad. Because
Yeah.
who would choose men?
Anyways, so
As we read in MM romance.
oh my God, yeah, well, listen, love it. So Bennington is supposed to be there to meet with them. And guess what? Guess what he doesn't do?
Joe.
He actually video calls, which is not good. And they want him to murder Madigan in front of them. By the way, he doesn't. Instead, Azriel fucking shoots Ryan in the temple and then shoots him in the chest. So at the time, too, a bunch of, like, he had set off, like, a lot of gas stuff throughout, like, the whole thing. Because, again, that's, like, his specialty. Because he is trying to, you know, do things. Madigan grabs a phone and calls the Red Queen, which is Cass. So
Which we probably also would have known.
I don't know, though, because I didn't read the first one, so I have no idea.
I'm assuming.
Who knows? And says that he needs eyes on a location right now, but they're running out of time. They need to get the fuck out. And Cass is like, yo, I can't, I'm good, but like not that fucking good. And Cass basically ends up trying to run this whole thing blind because there is no overhead view of everything because they have the only picture they have of an overview. Yeah. And the only picture they have an overview is like years ago, and it's a whole thing. So he manages to be a genius and gets them out and gets them to like a safe house. Azriel admits that he missed Madigan as well, if it matters. And Madigan says it doesn't not matter, which is so funny. But they get to the house and they open up some more about their past. We learn, you know, Madigan had actually killed one of his lovers for a ridiculous sum of money. But it's not that, like, basically Madigan had a hit on him. And the dude he trusted.
The rumor is that that's what.
The rumor is that he killed his lover for a set of things. So he was setting this record straight. Like, actually, what happened is the man fucking betrayed him and backstabbed him, and which sucks because, like, now he has the trust issues. So instead, he killed him. And he said it would make more sense to let the rumors go around that he murdered the man for money instead of it showing that he was weak and let his guard down and let someone come up behind him. So that way he could continue doing this job. Azriel tries to reassure Madigan by saying, like, I haven't hid anything from you at all. Like, I've always been open. And for them, well, minus, you know, this whole situation. Which was...
And every other situation.
I meant like just like being the person he is. Like he's never like hid the kind of person he is. Whereas like the other person really truly like faked his feelings.
Persona. Right.
Yeah. Whereas like he's not faking his feelings. Madigan says like, what is there for people like us? Like there's literally nothing. And Azriel says like, well, we could have each other. What will it take for you to forgive me?
What about us?
And you know what it's going to take? Well, they're going to fuck. But Madigan makes Azriel stand against the window so he is vulnerable and like open himself up for him. And then they fuck while they're in the middle of it. Azriel's saying like, this isn't the solution. This is like an opening play for negotiations, like, which is crazy. But anyways, so after everything that just went down, they are now currently marked and they are high dollar targets. So much. But if they pull their resources, they can come up with something to get out of this. Cass calls Madigan and Azriel together with Jonah, and they're going to come up with a plan. And Sadie is there too. So Bennington has closed ranks at his estate in New Hampshire. What the fuck? Because part of this takes place in Boston. So now they're well, he has got armed guards all over the place. Cass cannot hack this system. It's just realistically, it's just going to take a lot longer, and it's not in the time frame that they really have to get a handle on the situation. So they need to find someone to get in. Sadie in this meeting suggests that they kidnap a dog. And I was like, what? And Cass is like, you can't just kidnap a dog. They made 3 John Wick movies about why you shouldn't kidnap a dog. And she goes, no, they made it about why you shouldn't kill a dog, not kidnap a dog. So basically, they need to get this dog. They need to get close with the psychiatrist who's taking care of this dog in order to get into this house. Like, they need to do the distraction. So basically,
leverage.
They're going to set up marriage counseling with the psychiatrist so that the other people can go and kidnap the dog. On their intake sheet, they both say that they were diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and sociopathy. And they're basically trying to waste the time of this poor doctor. But they also end up getting like actual therapy like throughout this whole thing, and it's so cute and it's so funny because like they are trying to like just like play it off as like not something serious, but it does end up turning into something serious. And in the middle of the session, they get a picture, which is they have the dog now. They show the doctor and they tell him, listen, during your next session with Bennington, we need you to stick this. I don't remember what the little device was. I already forgot. They have a device that he needs to stick inside. I think it's to help with.
It's so that Cass can hack into their security system.
Thank you. I got lost there was a lot of things happening at this point. It's fine. I liked this book though. Anyways, he's like, hey, we need you to stick this under a table. You just don't let anyone see it. Then Bennington's like, okay. He just agrees. He goes, listen, I also just want proof of life every morning with the dog, and explains how to take care of this dog. By the way, this dog has a lot of stuff that it needs. It has expensive food, drinks bottled water, is a fucking psycho. He tells them that neither one of them are true psychopaths. They're borderline, but neither of them would be suffering if they were pure in the psychopathy. Like, their relationship troubles, they wouldn't be as hurt with everything going on. They're just mostly both deeply enmeshed with each other, and they both despise the idea of being vulnerable, which the doctor really called him out. So they're going to leave and head back, eat some food, and go over everything again and how they're supposed to make everything work. Azriel draws a bubble bath, and he takes a bath. And, of course, Madigan's like, who the fuck takes a bubble bath? Sounds great. But then...
Well, no, he more wants to ask who stocks a safe house with bubblegum bubble bath.
That is true. I actually really don't like the smell of bubblegum bubble bath.
It's a little extra, but...
Yeah. So, Azriel admits that at the core of every stupid decision he's ever made, he wanted the real him. Because he knew, even then, he thinks that he could have fallen in love with him. But he wasn't sure if he could ever break down Madigan's walls enough.
What is love, baby?
To love him. Madigan says, yet here I am. And we learn that Azriel really did kill his father, by the way. And then they start to get a little freaky in the bathtub, but they get out of the bathtub because they're like, we're not doing this in the tub. So they can fuck in front of the mirror, which sounds like a great idea, actually. And when they're done, all of a sudden there's a knock at the apartment. and it's the dog being dropped off. And it is a tiny little thing, but this thing, by the way, fucking gremlin. And so mean. And like it looks so unassuming, but then they hand the dog like the toy and that fucking thing rips that thing to shreds. The guy also says, please don't allow this dog on your bed, otherwise it will hump you. So that's reassuring. In the middle of the night, the dog has actually made its way onto the bed and is like snuggling with Madigan, which is actually really cute. And then Azrael actually just cock warms him. Like Madigan really wanted him to fuck him, but he wasn't going to do that. So he just like sticks it in and just like goes to sleep. Then he wakes up in the next morning and then Azrael fucks the shit out of him. So, you know, he got it in the end eventually.
Yeah, he got it in the end.
Yep. Jonah shows up to pay a little bit of a visit just so they can set up the apartment for everything. Sadie is going to join them from the airport. Ronan should be there in an hour. And of course, Azrael didn't know that all these people were coming. And he is naked in the kitchen.
I think he knew they were coming eventually, just not at that exact
Just not
moment.
at that exact moment. And like Cass is like, oh,
I see,
yeah.
he says.
Yeah, they end up going to talk in the bathroom and they talk some more about how they don't want to like fuck up whatever they have like at all. And maybe they could be continuing to go to couples counseling. And Azrael's like a little shocked about this because Madigan just seemed very not on board the other day. But Madigan says that his magical dick has shown him the error of his ways. He got dickmatized. Oh, God. And healed his heart. And now they are going to get all prepared to head in and kill this dumbass man. They have a plan and they just have to get this over with so they can come out great on the other side. But of course, as usual, shit goes south. Men have been shot. There is literally no sign of Bennington.
The doctor's car is still on the property.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Like no one is like none of these men are to be found. But then Madigan does eventually find Bennington in an office, and he's got Azrael held up against him like a shield. And Bennington does the evil villain thing and talks about like, oh, I was on the way, you know, that meeting in Rio when I learned Ryan double crossed me and blah 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 blah. He does the evil villain thing. So he talks and was telling him not to bargain with him. And Madigan and Azrael have like a little back and forth because he's thinking, this bitch ain't gonna shoot me. No, he does. He just shoots through Azrael's shoulder. Which was like, he's like, what the fuck?
Well,
and then
it's gonna go to the target.
He did have he said, listen, the only way around is through. And he's like, through my shoulder? Like afterwards.
It's not like he shot him through the heart. Come on.
Right. Madigan doesn't shoot him, but he goes to shoot him. But fucking Azrael had already taken a syringe and killed Bennington with his poison. And Madigan's like, what the fuck? You couldn't even let me have this one, not even the name of romance? And Azrael's like, you fucking shot me. And Madigan's like, yeah, but my intentions were pure. The end goal was protection. Like, the fuck? They end up checking for everybody in the house. They do eventually find Eastman, the doctor, and he is still alive. He is in rough shape. They're going to get everybody all stitched up and taken care of. And the mission is finally over. Madigan and Azrael tell each other that they love each other. And then we get an epilogue. And they fuck again. And they're just happily doing their jobs.
Shock. They're together and they want to be together.
They're in love. They're in gay love.
And the guy who is mourning the original Red Queen, again, we don't know a lot of what happened in book one, is heading to Boston to try to like clean up some of the stuff. And in Boston is the good doctor, and those two are the next book.
Yes.
So on that note, favorite character, mine was the doctor. We didn't talk a lot about him, but I wish we did. He was a psychopath and fabulously so, and he was my favorite character. So sad face that we didn't talk about him a lot, but he was armed to the teeth and he would go alone to shrink out the psychos just because he was interested and thought he could do something, but he had all the knowledge of everybody, but he also could handle himself on his own. And
I really liked Cass. He was very funny.
He's the first book, so yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I liked a lot of people in this. Like, it was pretty
No,
good.
no, his favorite.
But yeah. Who was your least favorite? Stupid Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah. Ryan.
Fucking Ryan.
Ryan.
Ugh, man. So Amazon gives us a 4.5, Goodreads a 4.2, and Storygraph a 4.15.
What did you rate it?
A 4. I liked it. I really had.
Yes.
I had a good time.
I waffled a little bit because of how much I felt was out of touch from the first book. Meaning I wish I had read the first book.
Yeah.
So it's like I was at a 4, but I was like, oh, I wish I could go just under to like a 3.95 or something, but I'm just going with a 4.
Oh, nice. I love that. Alrighty. Peppers. I was gonna go with like a jalapeno.
Jalapeno.
Look at us on the same page. Yeah.
I would survive.
I would survive too. I'd be a terrible spy though, I think.
Our brand new thingy-mabobber, if you caught our last special. That's not the color I need. Krystal, was this a one-handed read for you?
It was like a halfway. Can I do like a halfway mark?
No, so I really wish we had an in between.
Can we just like put our name?
Like
Can we just put it in between? Yeah. Just put it in between.
We need to write a maybe in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if there was like a little bit more, it probably would have been a yes.
Yes, it had the
But it was
possibility.
actually pretty decent. Like I thought that was they were well written.
Oop.
Like in all reality.
Maybe.
I'm gonna go with a maybe.
Me too. Nope. Oh.
You already fucked up, didn't you?
Yep, but that's okay because you're going to be making us fancy shit.
I am. Love this.
Okay.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Sweet.
And we get to spin our new wheel.
Yes, we have our beautiful new wheel. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. Let's see what happens. Do I really have to read again?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if I know this one. February is for Krystal.
God, I fucking hate this. So, the
What
category
is this one? Yeah.
Yes. So the category is, I actually believe that this is under the creative sex toys and or extremities that can be used as such category. It's called Sweet Tentacles. It's a sci-fi alien monster mail order bride romance. So, by Mayfly. When you're running for your life, hopping from one galaxy to another, the last thing you want is to become a mail order bride. Not me, though, because why save yourself like a normal human when you can double your chance of getting killed by mating with the universe's most notorious alien tentacle monster? Yeah, I don't make the best life decisions out here. Except the tentacle monster turns out to be the exact opposite of what I think he is. He vows to protect me. He cuddles me to sleep. He takes such good care of me. And did I mention lots of cuddles? My heart is melting for this sweet alien, but my brain warns me not to fall. Not even if he cooks me the most delicious earth food you can find in all the star sectors. Chomping. There's no time for love. A dark force is hunting me down, and if I'm not careful, I'll not only blow my cover as mail order bride, but also endanger us all. It is a dual POV alien monster romance with steamy scenes, no cliffhanger, and a guaranteed HEA. And there is tentacles involved. A lot. From what I had researched.
Cool.
Because the tentacles on the cover look like octopus tentacles with the suction cups.
So another week with another Krystal pick. She's super thrilled about it, obviously. What will the wheel bring us next time? Make sure to
Probably
keep
another
reading.
fucking me book. And keep it smutty.
Good.
I accidentally unplugged myself. I don't know why this says he really wants to kill his ass. That's not it. He kind of does. He wants to murder his ass. He slows down, pulls out condoms and a lube, and takes off.
And a lube.
Condoms and lube.
And a lube.
And a lube.
I just love he pulls
Sorry.
out condoms and a lube.
I just want you to know that it says it is in Ariel's point of view. I'm actually pretty sure my thing autocorrects Azriel to Ariel. Madison's like, are you fucking sure that your contacts were correct? Sorry, Madigan is like, what did I say?
Madison.
God, you know what it is? It's because halfway through this I kept saying Madison for some fucking reason. Also, side note, my hair looks like voluminous today. Sorry, I got distracted. I straightened it for the first time in like 2 weeks. don't know who Liz is, but why it says Liz? It says, well, first of all, it says Ariel says that Liz will check out the warehouse. So I don't know who this is. Weary, leery,
Different words.
whatever. I don't care. I literally don't care. I also want you to know it says Little Larry. Voice text decided to
Went up
really
my
fuck
nose.
me. They fucked me as hard as Azriel and Madigan fuck each other. Madigan says, listen, like, he had, no, hold on. What? Azriel, the first time this note has actually spelled it correctly, every other name is Ariel. Are you done?
Yep. I still don't have to listen.
Go take a fucking nap. Eat.
Anyways. February, it's Krystal time.
I hate this for me. It's my punishment for taking my birthday off.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.